All right, I got my first grape harvest from the garden, and there are still plenty left, but these were the early ones to ripen. And I'm going to try making these into raisins because I tried a few that had dried in the sun, and they were actually really good and arguably better than the actual ripe grapes. So, what I did here first is I just peeled all the grapes off. You can see that I tried to leave a decent amount of the skin on there. I kind of would grab the grape and roll it off a bit so it can kind of rip. These ones are underripe, so maybe not the best example. Yeah, there you go. Kind of let it rip a little bit. Underripe ones grab a bit more. And that just saves you a bit of time because when they're open, water will come out easier and they'll dehydrate much quicker. It's very similar to cherry tomatoes. If you try to dehydrate those without poking a hole in them, they will take forever. So I'm going to put these in the dehydrator right here. According to my Excalibur dehydrator manual and what I've seen online, it can take about 18 to 24 hours and maybe even up to 48 if your grapes have thick skins and have no holes poked in them. So I'm going to see if I can get away with about 18 to 24 hours, and I will report back after putting these in my dehydrator. All right, it's been about 24 hours, maybe 26, since I put these grapes in the dehydrator, and I have had it on 125 degrees looking at it, and so far they seem great. They aren't quite done. Well, some are, like this here is a perfectly good raisin. Yep, tastes great. Tastes like a raisin. And then there are these larger ones here where they're still squishy and grape-like and probably need another, probably even as much as 10 hours. So I separated out the bigger ones. They're pretty easy to find. Some are quite large still, but nice and squishy and pretty soft. They don't really have that much moisture in there, but ones like this are small and they still have that moisture. So maybe I was a bit too lazy by trying to just get the skin to break while taking them off. We'll see though. I can see if these stored, they get moldy or not. It's not a large batch, so I'm not too worried. And I will say, compared to the other grapes, a nice benefit of this is that they didn't all ripen at the same time. And I left the really underripe grapes on the stem, the ones that were gross and eaten by ants. But when they're dry, a tart grape I just don't really find pleasant at all, especially when it has a slight bitterness to it. But with the raisins, the sugars are concentrated. It seems like the ratio of sweetness to acid favors the sweetness more. So preserving some grapes if you're lazy or they're not ripening all at once, it seems like a good way to make them nicer and make them more palatable. So if you want to see any more homesteading or gardening tips, feel free to follow me, and I will try to post more about how I process my food.